Hey Clear Lake peeps, Ross England here. Clear Lake Guide Service with your Clear Lake report for October 5th, 2023. There we go, that's a little bit better. Sitting here at the county park, just got done. I would have had this done yesterday, but Jim and I got blown off by an absolutely brisk east wind. So, boy, I tell you what, can't ask for much better weather right now. There we go. Sorry, I thought I had something going on with my screen. Okay, lake level. Lake level was at 2.29 this morning, so it's dropped about 0.2 of a foot since last week. Pretty much normal, pretty much what's going on. Water conditions, pretty darn good. I'd have to fall short of saying the best I've seen in a number of falls, only because usually late September, early October, we've had some years where, you know, we've had 3 and 4 foot of visibility, real nice, clear, green water that we could catch topwater fish in. And, you know, it's not seeing a lot of that. We got around mostly in the upper end of the lake this week, and I did see a couple of areas that we got into in Lucerne that we could see, and actually over on the South Shore, that we could see 3 feet very clearly. Overall, most of it, 1.5 to 2 feet was the best I've saw. At least on, again, above the Narrows, very little algae. The water really looks good, even though I, kind of said, well, we've seen better. We've seen a lot worse. So water clarity, really good condition, I think. Temperature, pretty much hanging in the mid 60s, depending on whose boat you look at. What I've seen is 65 to 67 degrees. Mornings have been cooler. This morning, 42 degrees here in Kelseyville for a morning low. But I mean, just beautiful afternoons, absolutely gorgeous. If you really think about it, and I think back, the condition of the lake right now is phenomenal. I mean, it just really is. I wish the fishing was a little bit better, but you don't have weeds to contend with or weeds to fish, depending on how you fish. There's some weeds around, but nowhere near what we usually have. So let's see. I think that's it for conditions. Wind's been kind of weird. East winds are not that common, and I mean, it blew hard yesterday, and today dead flat, which is nice, at least where I've been. So the big event that's going on this week, first official day of pre-fish was Wednesday. Yesterday is a New Gen team fish off. By looking at their website, they've got 128 teams, I believe, that are qualified. Don't know how many of them are going to fish. They've got to be off the water a little bit early on tomorrow afternoon for meetings and all that tournament stuff. And then they'll have the water for Saturday and Sunday. Then the following week is BBT, Saturday and Sunday. It's probably a team championship of some form. Out of everybody I've run into the last 2 weeks, I have run into more BBT guys pre-fishing than anybody else I've run into. So I have no idea how many they qualify for their event, but it will be a big deal next weekend. So those are the events that are coming up, and it's about to wind down. So mid part of October on, lake should get a lot quieter. We're gonna do a little math problem. My colleagues, Zach with Live Fast Movement and Bob Tyler with his channel, got reports in yesterday afternoon, and they cover a lot of stuff, you know, and I think between the three of us, we pretty much cover everything that you need to hear, which is nice for you folks who live out of town. We all kind of do something different. It's really nice to have Bob's input because he's from the Clear Lake Oaks area, which honestly I hardly ever go down to. So his insight is really helpful to kind of match up with, you know, what I put together. And Zach does a good job of getting all over the lake. So we'll do a little math problem, and that's 2 negatives make a positive. The first negative is still just not catching a lot of fish. Very used to, you know, it's just the way this year has gone. We've had some decent days. They're improving. They're getting a little bit more consistent, but I'm just not finding those groups of fish that you can just camp on and whack a good number out of. The other negative is I'm not seeing a whole lot of small fish, although today we caught a 2 1/4 pounder. So, I mean, that's encouraging. There's at least one. But those 2 negatives add up to a positive, and the positive is, you know, pretty consistently we're well over 20 pounds each day that we're out. We're not catching, you know, 12, 14, 15, 19 fish. We're just putting together 7 to 11 fish days, 12 fish one day, and pretty much nudging that 21 to 23 pound mark most days. Today we had a couple of 5s to go with the 4s that we put together. The other trips this week, only 1 5-pounder each day, you know, which I say that, and I don't want people who are out of the area who fish McClure or Maloney's or Shasta, you know, sometimes when we talk about we only got 1 5-pounder, or, you know, we only got 18 or 19 pound limits, I know how that sounds, and it doesn't sound good on your home lake when you scratch and, you know, claw and do everything you can do to get a 10-pound limit and feel good about it, and then here we are, we get 15 to 18 pounds and we're kind of whining and sniveling. So there's going to be some good weights this weekend. I expect the same thing as last weekend. A lot of teams put together 19-pound plus limits. You know, what we did not see, no fish over, actually no fish over 8 pounds, 8 pounds and above. There wasn't a single one of them weighed in. There was a handful of 7-pounders that were caught each day. Day 1, there were no 6s. Day 2, there was, I think, 3 or 4 6-pounders weighed in. And then the majority of the big fish that people weighed in were 5s and heavy 4s. So again, the good news is, man, there's the fish that if you can get 5 bites, you're going to have a decent weight. The hard part is getting 5 bites. You know, we've been bouncing around a lot because we just haven't been finding, you know, one spot we could just sit and whack away on, which we're kind of used to doing during the fall. But in some very surprising places, you know, we caught, you know, a good fish here, good fish there, all on reaction baits. I can honestly say, and I picked up a drop shot rod to catch a catfish, to hook a catfish today, and we did that. But that's the only spinning rod fish that we actually caught all week. So it's kind of fun to go out and throw reaction baits and feel that tug back. So I think that'll be the report, because at this point I could just ramble on for another 15 minutes and half of you have already left already. So we will talk to you next week. If you're fishing this tournament this weekend, good luck. The weather looks like it's going to be pretty good. Monday looks like we've got a little bit of an event coming through, but the weekend looks good. So good luck to you all. Be safe. And, you know, like Bob says all the time, just treat everybody fairly. Don't be afraid to give somebody a little bit of room. Talk to you next week.